What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Jesus Daily. We've been studying the book of James. We're in chapter 4 right now. If you enjoy these videos, please remember to hit like, follow, and share as we continue to grow this platform. This morning we're starting at verse 13, and let's get to it. Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow, we will go into such and such a town and spend a year there and trade and make a profit. Yet you do not know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? For you are a mist that appears for a little time and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we will live and do this or that. As it is, you boast in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil. So whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him it is sin. Let's kind of start on the big picture. We're Christians. We're only going to be living here for a limited amount of time, right? Maybe you're watching these videos. Maybe you're in your 20s and 30s. Frankly, in the big scheme of things, we could live until we're 60 or 70. At the same time, this passage kind of makes it very clear, we don't know what's going to happen today, right? We're in the Houston area. There are people that can die in traffic at any given point in time. You get in a car wreck, and it's over, Jack. Your life could be ended right there on the spot. So first and foremost, maybe you're watching these videos, maybe you're chewing on Christianity, maybe you've been struggling in your own belief system. What do you think? What do you believe? And maybe you haven't really chewed hardcore on Jesus. My first big implorement to you is get to know Jesus if you don't know Jesus. That is the most important, vital decision you can possibly make in your entire life, and it'll affect quite literally everything else around you at the end of the day, right? Ultimately, we believe in Jesus because Jesus is our gift from God. We are creatures that are fallen by nature. We're sinful. And at the end of the day, without Jesus and his sacrifice, believing in that sacrifice, believing that he died and rose from the dead, took on all those punishments of sin on our behalf, if we do not believe in that sacrifice, accept it, and say, you know what, Jesus, I do need you. I do need your help. Lord, please save me. If we do not do that, our punishment is hell at the end of the day. That's all there is to that. So my first and ultimate implorement is always get to know Jesus. That's the most important possible decision you could ever make. That would be, to me, the ultimate expression of this passage. We are dust in the wind. We're just here today and gone tomorrow. There's not going to be much of us left before it's all said and done, right? And the second half of this aspect, you could come back to verse 17 here. So whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him it is sin. Let's get real practical. It's one thing to make plans. We all want to make plans. It's not a bad idea to make plans, especially as we're heading into New Year's Eve and we're thinking about the new year. A lot of folks like practicing the idea of a New Year's resolution. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever, right? Nothing's wrong about that. But keep in mind in the bigger picture that we are simply just creatures that could very easily get a virus today. We can get cancer. We can go through, again, a wreck, be on an airplane, the airplane goes down. All sorts of possible stuff could happen to us that could end our lives. So we have to keep the big picture in mind that yes, it's okay to plan ahead, but do so in the mindset that God is the ultimate one in control, and ultimately he is the final authority over all things. So frankly, as you plan, right, Proverbs 3 is a good place to start out at. Trust the Lord with all of your heart, lean not on your own understanding, in all of your ways acknowledge him, and he'll make your path straight. Always looking to Jesus first, always looking to God the Father first, as you're going through your plans, as you're going through your chewing on of what your future looks like. And finally, the last part of the application is we ought to live out what we know and believe and do. This goes beyond just today's living, right? This means in our consciousness, the more we're closer to Jesus, the more we choose to study and read God's word, the more we acknowledge God's word and take that in and receive that, the more responsible we become with that information to live it out correctly and authentically. It's one thing if you're in the first 6 months to a year of your Christian walk with God, getting to know who Jesus is and what Jesus is about. You may not have all the answers there. You may not have the ability to easily share the testimony of Jesus' love with others around you just yet. It may take time. But if you're a seasoned Christian, if you know Jesus, if you had that relationship for years now, then frankly, we are more responsible for that information. We ought to be able to be a testimony to the world around us. We ought to be able to share certain answers with people if they're asking questions about who Jesus is, about God's word in the first place. So that is a part of what's taking place here in the book of James, is we need to take responsibility for ourselves and what we do know and live that out to the best optimal way we can, while trusting that God ultimately is in control and saying, you know what, Lord, I do have these plans, but ultimately you're in control, so help me to live that out with you in mind. So appreciate you guys listening again. If y'all have questions about this text, or maybe some other questions about the book of James, let me know. Always happy to talk about it with you. Appreciate y'all watching again, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.